Dr. Miller here. Quick video in the car as always. Really excited about this topic. I'm try to get to the point here. Probably could break this up into two videos, but I'm just going to try to hit as much as I can. Machines versus free weights. Which is better for hypertrophy, for strength, and for athletics, for athletic development? Which one's better? Before I get into that, though, I have a study a review article to help support what I'm going to talk about too. So I think you'll find it interesting. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, though. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you end up liking it. It helps to grow the channel. Thank you for all those who have subscribed already. Put your comments in the comment. I mean, some of you are commenting on the videos and have questions or disagreements, perhaps. Rock and roll. Let's do it. It's fun. It's fun to talk about this stuff. Okay, let's get into this. So, quick background. I grew up all barbell. Machines were dumb. There's no way that they're not functional. You can't get faster using them. The old HIT training, HIT, not HIIT as we know it today, but HIT, one set to failure training, that's garbage. Don't do that. You can't be a good athlete doing that. I do think it has its limitations. Don't get me wrong. But kind of, the 1x20 training, I did a review in that book. I've kind of come around to that. And the reason is working with youth athletes, this switch from, hey, kids can never lift to now kids can just smash it. I think kids are getting smashed. In my opinion, I think we're going a little bit too hard too quickly with the barbell with kids. And I love the barbell. I mean, I've coached Olympic style weightlifting for years. The barbell is the sport. The sport is the barbell. But the question always is, can I do this is the big question. Can I get the same results without beating myself up getting there, or beating up an athlete getting there, like a young athlete? If they don't have to crawl under a barbell and try to execute a movement with a load on their spine, if I can do that with a hex bar or a machine, why wouldn't I do that? If you're an older athlete, an older adult, I'm older now too. If your back hurts or your hips hurt and you're like, man, maybe you're a master's athlete, you want to compete, do you have to crawl under the barbell to see benefit? I think it's probably well understood that, machines are really good for hypertrophy just because it allows for high volume work because it takes away the degrees of freedom. But what about for strength? What about for athleticism, if that's something you're interested in? And again, I was always anti-machine. Machines can't do that. They can do hypertrophy. It's great for the bodybuilders, but they're completely useless otherwise. All right, so recent review. The author's name is Hogan. I'll put the link to the article in the review. It's a review article in the video description. Haugen. Long title. Basically, they took I believe it was 12 studies and compared machine versus free weight training. The individuals in these studies were trained. You can decide after reading the article if you like their definition. At least the individuals were trained somewhat. I'll say that. It's based on their back squat strength, both men and women. You could say that I don't think that's trained enough, but at least they were trained somewhat. All right. They're not untrained. How's that? Probably not as well trained as I would like to have seen, but nonetheless interesting. And so they took these studies and looked at, okay, machine training doesn't make you stronger. Free weight training doesn't make you stronger. Machine training doesn't make you bigger. Free weight training doesn't make you bigger. And then looked at counter movement jumps. So, something that has a power output, which I think is very interesting. Not surprising that if you train with machines, you get stronger on machines more so. If you train with the barbell, you get stronger with the barbell more so. However, when it came to hypertrophy in counter movement jump, same, like roughly the same, not statistically significant. Okay. And so that means that a machine training can produce the same improvements in vertical jump as free weight training. Machine training, not surprisingly, can produce the same similar results, and maybe you could flip it the other way, if you think that machines are better for hypertrophy, but they seem to be the same, machines and free weights, when it comes to hypertrophy. Again, strength was a little more specific. Specificity of training makes sense, but it wasn't like the machine training group didn't get stronger. They just didn't get as strong as, in the free weight work because you didn't practice with it, and then vice versa. Okay? So what does this mean? If you have access to machines, okay, and again, if I go back to the youth example, we have to make sure the machines fit the kids, right? Depending on how old we're talking. But if you have access to machines, use them. Use them. If the benefits of the barbell are real, meaning if you do a barbell back squat to full depth, you're going to get really great glute and quad activation, no doubt about it. If that, try to copy that with the machines, you're going to have to do the leg press quad activation or leg extension perhaps. And then you're going to have to do some glute work, maybe a hip driver machine or something like that. Okay. So the barbell is more efficient in terms of the time spent. However, can you do the barbell exercise correctly? Even athletes, most of them cannot get to the depth that makes the barbell effective. Okay. Like I'm talking about the back squat, for example. Most athletes, I'm talking to athletes because you assume that they would be the ones that could really do this, don't have the range of motion. They don't have the technique control. They don't have the ability to do, multiple sets of heavier loads without technique starting to fail. I'm not saying all athletes, I'm saying a lot of. So that means most people that go to the gym don't have that same type of technique. Maybe you do. Maybe you have great ankle mobility and hip mobility and you are awesome at the back squat. Cool. I'm not against it, the barbell back squat, obviously. But I am saying, though, it's the top of the food chain when it comes to exercises. And if you can't do that, if you're a trainer or coach, your athletes or your clients can't do that exercise correctly, don't force it on them because you know there's options, right? I realize you can do dumbbells and things like that too, which I think are a better way to go for most people. But I'm just saying the machines are also on the table. Don't take them off the table. It doesn't mean I'm advocating for all machines. I'm not advocating for all barbell. I'm just saying it could be part of a nice tool bag now to say, hey, this machine over here, we can get stronger and we can get faster. We can jump higher. And then hypertrophy is probably well supported already, but we can do that with these machines, right? And maybe for some of you, you're like, well, duh. But maybe for some of you, you're like me that kind of grew up again looking at a leg press machine, like, that's dumb. Why would you waste your time on that? Well, I was wrong, right? And again, my thinking started to change probably about 15 years ago when it started, duh. Hey, as long as the muscles get stronger, okay, in the weight room, that's the whole point. And then if you're an athlete, you're going to take all that strength out and go and coordinate it. All right. There may be some other thing. I'm kind of thinking about some other things too. Some authors that have challenged motor control and things like that. I'm thinking about, but in terms of like developing strength and then transferring it, okay, machines seem to be just as effective. Transferring it to like power and athleticism. All right. I'm not advocating one over the other. I'm just saying machines, they have value, and especially with kids. If you work with young kids or you are a young kid, I mean, adolescent or younger, as long as the machine fits the body shape, like the limb lengths, etc. I think it's a better way to go. Assuming access, right? Otherwise, hex bars, dumbbells would be more appropriate. I think the barbell is, again, a wonderful implement, but I think we need to start to build out. I know a lot of coaches have built out regressions, progressions, but we need to start to build out those a little bit more where the barbell is the top of the food chain. Like you can't touch the barbell until you can proficiently move with the dumbbell and the machines. And if you are still seeing gains with both of those, then no need to touch the barbell. The barbell is like only as needed, right? Wonderful tool, but only as needed for most people. Unless you're doing barbell sports, of course, like powerlifting or weightlifting, okay? Even then, some of the supportive exercises could be done with machines or dumbbells. All right, I'm going to stop rambling. This is a topic I'm pretty passionate about, though. I think mostly coming out of youth sports, again, I get concerned with, and masters athletes as well, but just people in general, that you don't have to beat yourself up. And I know people love the squat, and I do that. I love the squat too, but I can't do it anymore. Maybe that's part of why I'm so passionate about it as well. Does that mean I can't get strong? No, it doesn't. Again, these youth athletes, do they have to do? No. Last thing, I remember watching Mark Bell do a video at the, this is years ago, Sacramento Kings facility, the basketball team, NBA basketball team. And it was a lot of specialized equipment. They're loading the athletes, but they have very unusual athletes, very long levers and very tall. So they have to be creative and wise in how they load these athletes so they don't cause issues with their spines, right, and knees and things like that. Again, that was just another piece. Like, hey, there's nothing magical about the barbell. It's just a tool. I love it, but it's just a tool. I love all the safety, all the specialty bars and the transformer bar and all that stuff. I think that's great. But throw the machines in there too. That's an effective way to train, and we can take down this idea of them being so-called not functional. All right, like and subscribe. See you in the next video.